49 years old, and I'm writing a book for girls to help them navigate the hookup culture and stay safe. I've been interviewing recent college graduates, professors, health professionals to gather advice to include in my book. And the other day, I had lunch with my daughter. She's 22, and she said to me, "Mom, you need to share your story. It'll make what you have to say more meaningful."
My name is Harriet. I live in Uganda. I'm 25 years old. I'm the founder and executive director of an organization in Uganda called Rhythm of Life. I work in the red light district in Kampala, teaching young girls how to be safe, have their own dreams, how to look out for their own lives, how not to follow their mothers into prostitution. I am working to improve girls' access to healthcare and education. An organization called Let Girls Lead paid for me to come here to San Francisco to get training, talk with people, and tell them about my work.
This afternoon, I took a ferry across the bay to San Francisco to hear young African women speak. From the ferry building, I went up Clay Street 5 blocks, left on Montgomery, right on Sacramento to 640, an Italian restaurant called Paolo d'Asti, and I opened the door. A hostess directed me down a dark corridor past the main dining area, and that room was full of people, mostly women. But one man poured wine, while another offered a tray full of fried mozzarella.
I was standing near a wall at a back room at a restaurant. I was not sure how to talk with all these people. A woman I had recently met invited me into her circle. She called to me, "Harriet, come join us." When I joined the circle, I told them, "This past weekend, I attended a workshop in San Francisco with actors who volunteered their time. They showed me how to find my voice, connect with my own story, recognize it, and to use it as a source of strength."
I was standing in a small circle of women talking when one of them called out, "Harriet!" And I looked over and I saw Harriet leaning against the wall, just watching all the people in the room. But the noise in the room was so loud that she called out again, "Harriet, come join us!" And she gestured to Harriet. And Harriet looked up and she smiled and she joined the circle. Now, she told us that she had just attended a workshop where she learned that her story could be a source of strength. And I wondered, could my story ever be a source of strength?
They said if I share my story, it will make what I have to say more meaningful.
Well, after my lunch with my daughter, I started to write my story into my book. When I was 15, I left Arizona to go to prep school in Connecticut. It was considered one of the top schools in the country, and I had dreams of becoming a writer. I was already in an all-girls Catholic high school in Phoenix, but I wasn't getting the writing instruction that I wanted, and I thought I would find great teachers in Connecticut. And some terrible things happened while I was at prep school. Well, I had no words for these things as a 15, 16, 17-year-old girl. Why am I speaking now? I lost a friend, my best friend, and I never, ever want to lose another girl again.
Then, when it was my turn, I spoke to the whole group. The room was quiet. Everyone listened. I am from Uganda, and I'm working to ensure that daughters do not end up as prostitutes. I speak with the daughters of sex workers and encourage them to look out for their own dreams. Society nurtured me to be the next sex worker after my mom. Why am I speaking now? I lost a friend, my best friend, and I never ever want to lose another girl again.
When I was 42 and my daughter was 15, I lost my mind. I mean, we had just moved to California. I didn't know I lost my mind. We thought I had cancer. I had severe stomach pains, elevated heart rate. It was like knives stabbing my stomach. I lost 30 pounds. I could only eat crackers and canned peaches. I had night sweats. I could not sleep. After an EKG and blood work, an outpatient stomach lining test, and an ultrasound of my heart and my uterus, It was determined that I was suffering from extreme anxiety. I never had anxiety. I wanted to crawl out of my skin, out of my mind. It was like my brain was a screaming woman who wouldn't stop.
The definition of a good girl is when she stays silent, even when she knows her rights are being violated. We are working to change this definition of what it means to be a good girl.
When I was 16, I thought rape was something that happened in a dark alley by someone you didn't know. I did not know that you could be sexually assaulted or raped by someone you knew. By the handsome senior boy on the hockey team. They came into our dorm in the middle of the night. They had the master key to the school. Someone gave them the key. We were 15, 16-year-old girls who slept in flannel lance nightgowns covered with tiny floral prints and lace around the collar.
I tell them in 2 minutes, they can get HIV, which is something that can affect you for the rest of your life.
This is something that will affect me the rest of my life.
I tell them not to fall to peer pressure. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it's right for you. I ask them to ask themselves, what do you believe in? What is your dream?
I want girls to be careful about drinking, about boys, about putting the two together. See, I tell them not to fall to peer pressure. Just because everyone else is doing it, it doesn't mean it's right for you. See, I ask them to ask themselves, what do you believe in? What are your dreams? If something happens, I want them to know to get help no matter what the circumstance. I tell them, in 2 minutes you can be raped. It does not have to happen to another girl. We have the power to change everything around us, to get our voices out. My best friend dropped out of school to take care of her sick mother. Her mother was a victim of HIV/AIDS. At the burial, I realized her mother was a sex worker. In order to take care of her siblings, my best friend dropped out of school and followed in her mother's footsteps. This stuck in my mind as I grew up. I survived falling into sex work because I stayed in school. A lot of girls still need our protection. I needed protection, and it took me years sitting with Ruth in her office to figure out what happened, why I lost my mind. I had severe post-traumatic stress, like a vet who falls apart when his son registers for the draft, except that the bell tolled for me when my daughter was a sophomore in high school, the same age I was when the boys came into our room, and I could not process that I was as young as my daughter was. And after I lost my mind, my heart broke.
I'm visiting with these girls, and I take them to the light to explore their choices so they can be what they want to be. Girls need that love.
I needed love.
Many of the girls I speak to are looking for a sugar daddy. They want someone who will give them money or buy them clothes. This only offers a temporary satisfaction. We have to nurture a new generation that has principles, stands for what is right and what they believe in. An educated girl can realize her potential.
The boys graduated, went to Ivy League schools to play hockey and lacrosse, and the girls were punished. We were put on general probation. One more offense, we'd be kicked out of school.
It's important for girls to go to school. Education is a pathway for girls. If they go to school and stay in school, they can pursue different careers, become great citizens and great contributors to society other than engaging in sex work.
Teachers and students snickered at us in the hallways. Oh, my math teacher was explaining the theorem, making an example on the chalkboard. First he drew my dorm, then my dorm room, put an X on my room and called it the den of promiscuity. And then he laughed, and the students laughed with him.
This is a global problem that needs a global solution.
Another teacher made tisk tisk sounds at me and said, boys will be boys.
My friend that I lost loved to sing.
My friend that I lost loved poetry.
After I finished speaking, a woman came up to me and introduced herself. She said that she was a writer and she was working on a book for girls to help them be safe and realize their dreams.
After she finished speaking, I introduced myself and I told her that her story had touched me. I shared with her that I had lost my best friend too, and she said to me,
when I tell my stories, I want people to pick a leaf from them.
The noise in the room is loud. I couldn't quite hear what you said. Did you say you wanted people to pick a leaf?
Yes.
I don't know what pick a leaf means.
The story is a tree, and something that touches you is a leaf. We tell our stories to inspire so that something offers a lesson or touches you. If it does, you pick it. You can learn, take that lesson with you, and the lesson will empower you. You pick a leaf.
My story. It is a source of strength.
Yes.
As you do your work, I will keep you in my prayers.
As you do your work, I will keep you in my heart.